Hey guys, I hope you're doing well today. I'm doing well and I hope everybody watching is doing well. So today I'm going to do a quick video. I know it's going to be quick today. It's not going to be a book review, but it's going to be a bit of a chat. If I show you these books, if I show you this one and this one and this one, can you guess what we're going to talk about today? Can you guess? Today, if you didn't notice, I'm going to talk about money. I'm going to talk a little bit about money management and I'm going to tell you my story. I'm going to give you a few tips because I've been there. I was terrible at it and I'm going to tell you how I've been able to get out of this trap. But before everything, disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. No, I'm just me, okay? And I'm just going to use my story. I'm going to tell you how I managed to limit this. The second thing is please don't hesitate to seek external support if you feel like your relationship with money is affecting your well-being, your financial well-being, your relationship with your family, your mental health, your finances in the long term. If you feel like this is really affecting you, please don't hesitate to seek external support. I'm going to give a few resources in the description of the video, a few links that you can access so that your situation gets better. But compulsive buying is really a problem that I used to suffer from, and little did I know it was linked with my mental health and my emotional well-being, but I did not realize it at first. I'm going to give you the 4 or 5 steps? I think 4 steps that have been really helpful to me in order to manage this terrible addiction. Compulsive buying is when you struggle to control your buying, is when you buy things on impulse, and most of the time it's going to be emotions, or sometimes you don't even know why, but you just buy things. And you know, in my case, I know I was buying things. In my issue, it was clothing items. I was buying clothing items to fill a void in my life, in the way I was feeling, or I thought it would boost my self-esteem, my self-confidence. So yeah, in psychology, compulsive buying is actually a disorder. It's compulsive buying disorder, and this is when you have a lack of control regarding shopping and buying, regarding behavior, preoccupation, or the actual action of shopping and buying. So very little control on how you spend your money or how many times you go shopping a week or a day. That's why at the start of the video, I really stress the fact that if you feel this is really affecting you, if you feel like this at your point, this is a disorder, a psychological disorder, please don't hesitate. Straight away seek external support, seek support from experts on this field, psychologists, behaviorists, so that they can help you and support you. In this video, I'm just talking about my story, how it happened for me. I knew that in my case, I wouldn't be able to stop straight away. But I limited it and I reduced it. It would be maybe once a month, I'm going to buy this little dress that I found. Maybe I don't need the dress, but I'm going to buy it, you know. I'm not really going to think about it, but I'm going to buy it. But at the stage I am now, if I know that, oh, I can't afford to buy the dress, or I don't need this dress, I will be able to control myself and not buy it. So I feel like I've done a lot of work. I'm at a very good place. Yeah. The thing with me is I'm not addicted to money. I don't have issues with money, or I don't really have issues with my relationship with money, to be fair. I know it sounds weird to a lot of people. Again, I don't care about money. Money to me is just something you need to get something else. But clothing items, you know, this is what I like, and it's not that I'm superficial or whatever. I know I'm not this type of person, but I just like elegance. To me, it's just elegance, expressing myself through clothing and playing with my creativity, and just honestly just elegance. I just like it. I don't know how to pronounce this word. I love clothes. But the issue is when I I don't control the way I'm buying clothes, and I buy too many of them, and it becomes too much. I'm ashamed. It becomes too much. So I realized I need some control over it. And I'm happy that now I have control over it, but it hasn't been easy at all. And by the way, the book that did help me really, this one, Spent, from Sally Palayam, is really the book that helped me get my compulsive habits in terms of spending in check. It really highlighted why I was buying compulsively and how I could stop it, how I can do the work with myself to stop all these things. Because it's not just about money, it's about you know, it's about your mental health, it's about your relationship with money, how money was seen as your family, as a kid, what were the habits of your parents, what type of habit that they transmitted to you, and it's also about the way you handle your emotions. It's also about emotional intelligence as well, I would say. So this book, really helpful, helpful. Other books that help me, and for this one, it's more about financial literacy and how to be wiser with the way you use your money. Very important. Economic independence is really important, especially for us women. So this one, She Economics, from Karen Pine and Simone Gnessen, very useful in terms of financial literacy, and they gave you a lot of tips. And this one as well, Love is Not Enough, The Smart Woman's Guide to Money, from Marin Somerset Webb. So these two books, financial literacy and tips for saving, having a healthy relationship with money and spending as women. And this one, really, if you're a compulsive buyer, read this. The first step for me to have healthier spending habits was to identify the problem. Now, let me tell you, the thing is, in my case, I like to treat myself. And sometimes I used to buy stuff without really thinking. And yes, it was impulsive behavior. I would buy stuff without thinking just because I feel like buying it. I have this little bit of urge, and you know, you feel this type of gratification when you do this. But at the time, it was not really a problem because my finances were tight and I didn't go overboard with it. Now, it became a problem when I moved from one country to another, and then I had to open a new bank account in this new country. But in my country of origin, I accumulated debt, but it was fine because I was making the payments regularly. I was a very good consumer. But when I moved country, and then in my new country, I had my job and my salary was going into my bank account of my new country. Now, in my country of origin, of course, I didn't have my salary anymore, and I was totally disorganized, and in also making sure I had money in my French bank account because I'm French. So I was not taking great care of my French bank account, while at the same time my debts, were still accumulated. And it started a vicious cycle, and that's when compulsive buying for me became a problem, because I was still living my lifestyle of buying stuff to make me happy while ignoring the fact that I was accumulating debt in France. And this moment when I started to have problems made me realize that I had a strange relationship with money, because the reason why I did not really pay attention to my bank account in France and all these things is not because I didn't want to pay, but because I was really lenient. I was not really responsible with my money, and I realized that this is stemming from my relationship with money, because I don't really value money. I know it's really weird, but for me money is not really important. To me, money is just a means to an end. So I was not really stressed. I was like, this is just money. I'm going to put the money when I have time. This is not a problem. And in real life, it is a problem. If you don't pay your debts on time, this is a problem. So I had to learn it the hard way. I had to be responsible, and I learned it the hard way. But you know what happened? The more I had issues with my French bank account, the more it didn't stop me from buying. At this point, what happened was that the more stressed as I was, because being in debt, having to pay all these things, and you struggle to manage your bank's account from a country another. I was starting to feel stressed about money, where this is not me. I've never been stressed about money in my life. Never ever. Until like early 20s, I started to have all these bad spending habits and being so neglectful about money and finances. So I started to be stressed because of my debts and so on. And I don't know why it didn't stop me from spending. It was really stupid of me. But then, I identified the problem. The first thing is that, you have debts to pay. But at the same time, you're still spending. What is the issue with you? Why don't you stop spending? I just sat down and thought about my spending habits, and I evaluated the way I was spending. I had to do a lot of reflection, and this is actually the second step. Identifying the issue is the first step, and most of the time you identify the issue when you're in trouble, when you have financial problems. That's when you sit down and you realize, oh, I have issues with the way I'm managing my money, or the way I'm overseeing my finances. So that's the first step for me. Second step was reflecting. Reflecting in order to take action. I guess had I never faced these financial issues, I would still spend a bit recklessly. So it was a blessing in disguise, I guess. But yeah, anyway, I sat down and I reflected, and I realized that I've always been someone who liked to treat myself, and I've been like this since I was a teenager. I started to earn money very early, because for the context, I come from a family who doesn't have money. I do not come from a rich family, and I'm not saying that negatively at all. I have no resentment at all about the fact that my parents are not rich. I'm actually thinking that it made me, wiser. It made me a go-getter. It made me a hustler very young. When I started to reach 12 years old, when I was 12, 13 years old, I started to work, doing a little bit of doing odd jobs in the neighborhood. I started to work for a local organization. Then I started to do tutoring. I started to do hair, I used to do hair when I was a teenager, and this is how I started to get my pocket money. And to me, I was feeling very happy with it. I was feeling empowered, independent, being like 14, 15 and earning money every month, and it gave me a sense of, first of all, I was feeling good because I felt like I deserved it. I worked for it. This is my money. And I felt like, all the things that I couldn't ask my parents because I didn't want to become a burden for them, all the things that I couldn't ask them, now I can get it, But it just made me happy to be able to buy me some food, some sweets, and some clothes. Yes, clothing items. I was into it. That was my weakness. When I reflected and when I looked at it, I realized that even when I was younger, it's true that, some people just like fashion, they like clothing items and so on. And this is 50% right for me. The other 50% was stemming from insecurity. I had body image issues. I had lack of self-esteem because as a kid, I went through two very traumatic events of sexual nature. So I felt some type of way about me as a person and as a young girl. And to me, having all these beautiful clothing items, it was comforting me. I felt like psychologically it was making me feel good at the time. I realized, as I grew up, I became a young woman. I was still buying clothes to me. It was a way to soothe myself, to fill the gaps and to fill the voids that were caused by lack of self-confidence or lack of self-esteem. But then I realized that although when I was a teenager, it made me feel good, as a young woman, it wasn't sufficient enough. But it didn't stop me from buying and buying, because I felt like, let me keep on buying. Maybe at some point I will feel good again, which was a big mistake for me to do. All this self-inspection work also stressed mental health. What I realized is that when I was feeling down, when I was feeling depressed, I would use shopping to make me feel better. I really noticed the link between my mental health and my spending habits, or the lack of control over my spending habits. And it was really good to see that, to realize that actually if my mental health was poor, in my case, I was more at risk of compulsive buying, or buying without control. In terms of mental health, one thing that I've also noticed is the fact that, when you're depressed, you don't really look forward the future. Because when I was diagnosed with depression when I was 14 years old, and I suffered from it for a couple of years, for many years. To me, I was not planning ahead, I was not planning forward, because I was totally depressed. To me, there was no hope in the future. So to me, I was like, why would I save anyway? Because I'm not bothered to know what's going to happen in a few years' time. I don't even have the will to carry on for a few years' time. So I was in a trap where I was depressed. I didn't want to plan for the future. I didn't want to think about the future, because I only had dark ideas about the future. I did not have this will, this, oh, I'm excited about the future, I'm gonna do this. Everything was gloomy. So to me, saving, investing, having financial literacy, I wasn't interested at all. I was just trapped into my mental health issues. I was trapped into depression, and I could care less about financial literacy, and so on and so on. So yeah, I reflected and I realized all the things that really entrapped me in this vicious cycle, in this vicious. Google is my friend. Vicious cycle. So first, identify your problem with spending. Secondly, reflect on your spending habits. Okay. The third step for me was to plan in order to take action. My first step before planning in order to take action was to identify my personal triggers. You have to know yourself. Know yourself. This is how you can get to the best version of yourself. This is how you can fix yourself. This is how you can heal yourself and target what you want to improve the best way. As I said, one of my triggers was mental health. When I'm feeling depressed or anxious, I have a tendency to go on misguided Amazon, whatever, and buy a little something because I think it's gonna make me feel better. My second trigger is emotional roller coasters. I know that when I'm feeling a bit emotional, if I go through a very big argument with someone that I like, or if I go through a breakup, the old me would go online and buy something to try to make her feel better, to have this feeling of instant gratification. So these are the main two triggers for me. Now I have other triggers like visiting big shopping centers. Visiting big shopping centers used to be very hard for me. I cannot go visit a big shopping center without having my card out and feeling like, oh, look at this is so beautiful, and let me get this and let me get that. So you know what I did? Because I live in London now, for a year I stopped going to Westfield in Stratford. I told myself, girl, you're not putting one foot in Westfield this year, because Westfield, oh my god, Westfield, even if I go and I say I'm just going to buy this thing, you have the shops, restaurant, the food would be the thing that would get me. Even before buying a pair of jeans or whatever, is the food. You really have to be honest with yourself. You really have to dig deep within, and this has to be a transparent conversation between you and you. I know it sounds weird, but you have to think and really identify what pushes you to buy without control. You have to think about your feelings, your history, maybe your history of trauma, your education about money, or your family habits as a kid. You have to revisit all these things, and it takes time, but this is a good start. It's very good to identify these triggers and be honest with yourself. And again, seek external support if you're in a very difficult position regarding compulsive buying. Please, please, please. Step number four for me in my story was to take action. Why do I do this? Take action. Okay, so it started little by little, you know, and I have to say, take action, simple things at the very beginning after I did all the reflection, self-introspection. It started simply by being organized, simply opening my letters when I received them, because I was really bad at this, reading my emails and paying my bills on time, you know. And little by little, when I became more organized, I started to become less anxious about, you know, opening my emails, reading my bills and so on, because I used to feel very anxious about opening my bills, reading my bills. I wouldn't even read my bank statements or whatever, because it would make me so anxious. And this anxiety, this financial anxiety, started when I started to have financial problems. Before that, I had no issues at all, but it's really when I started to have the financial problems that the financial anxiety started. And just when I started to become a bit more organized, things stuff on time, and feeling more confident and knowing what areas of myself I could work on, the anxiety disappeared little by little in my case. I also started to learn more about financial literacy. I decided I wanted to take control of my life and to take control of my finances, be more responsible as a buyer. So all of these were very important. I've also been seeking external support, and I'm just, you know, really educating myself, taking responsibilities. It really helped. But don't think that you're going to clear your debts all of a sudden. Don't think that everything's going to be clear all of a sudden. It takes time. So have some compassion for yourself. I'm not saying that you have to be self-indulgent. Be realistic and be patient. It's going to take time, but you need to be committed and dedicated to this process of reaching financial health. So these two books really helped me, and I've been reading about financial literacy. Yeah, it was really helpful in these aspects. Step number 5 for me, 5. Sorry, I have to be a bit more serious. Yeah, so step number 5 for me was to re-evaluate my beliefs, my habits, and my mindset. I also had to re-evaluate my purpose. I noticed the link between compulsive buying and mental health when I did this stage of reflection, and it was a difficult moment, this deep introspection, because you have to face things within yourself that you didn't realize, or that it's hard, you know, for you to realize that it wasn't working. Some things within yourself needed healing. But you know, this introspection was necessary, and it is necessary for everybody. You always need to reflect to improve, to readjust yourself, or just, you know, reflection is a very important aspect of life, of growing and of healing. Most of the time, reflecting in order to change and to grow, it takes time, okay? It doesn't happen in 10 minutes. It doesn't happen in a day. It takes time. In order to evaluate my inner beliefs, my purpose, my habits, it didn't happen in a month. It happened in a couple of years. But during these years, I was making the work, and I improved bit by bit until I became a changed woman. No, but yeah, it took a couple of years until I changed, and until I realized that, whoa, old me is so different than the me that I am today, and I know the journey continues. So just to let you know, it takes time. Don't be discouraged. Believe, be committed, and make sure that you have people around you who are going to support you through this journey, because it's not easy. It takes time, but be patient, be committed, and believe you will get better. You know, reevaluating my inner beliefs and my habits, it was the longest phase for me, but it was really worth it in the end. Really worth it. And it took a lot of discipline. You know, I wouldn't say how to limit your compulsive spending is discipline. It's not just discipline, because, you know, as I explained, there are a lot of things you need to consider. But, you know, discipline, I had to be disciplined in the sense that I had to understand that I'm committed to improve, I'm committed to heal, I'm committed to reaching financial health, and I'm committed to be better overall as a person. It was part of a holistic process of healing, I would say. Now, I'm talking about purpose, because I truly believe that finding your purpose, giving meaning to your life, giving yourself meaningful goals is also a great way to limit compulsive buying. Why? Because when you find your meaning, which is something that I couldn't find when I was depressed, you know, when I was depressed, I couldn't find meaning to life. I couldn't have goals for myself. I didn't understand the purpose of life. But when your mental health improves, when you're in a good space, when your mental health is good, then it becomes so much easier, you know, to find purpose, to find meaning to your life, and to give yourself these little enjoyable goals that you want to reach, that you have a willingness to reach. You know, this little sparkle of life, this little joyful pressure to live life, positive pressure, healthy pressure to live life and to succeed. And very important, success looks different to everyone. You know, there is no one good answer for success. Success is very personal. So I know that at this stage, success to me was to be good, to have a good mental health, to be a good mother, a good friend, a good daughter, a good sister, a good human being. To me, that was success. And healing to me was success. Healing from my trauma, and just being good with myself, loving myself, accepting myself, that was success to me. And I felt like I was ready to do the work, to actively do the work to be successful. And it had to go through financial health and stopping, or at least limiting to a very minimal degree, compulsive buying, limiting and erasing in the end, stopping with this in the end. When it becomes a pattern, when you cannot control yourself, it's good to think about, why do you do it actually? What are you trying to cover? What are you trying to hide? What are you trying to conceal? What are you trying to run away from? Or who are you trying to impress? I think it's really useful to find your voice and understand who you are, and finding your whys in life. Understanding why you want to wake up in the morning, why you want to do this, why do you want to earn money, why do you want to do this. And so, you know, you won't have an answer to everything, but what I mean is finding your purpose. What is your purpose? Once you have this clear purpose, you will, in my case, that's what happened. Once I had a purpose, it was so much easier for me to limit my spending to what was essential and to leave the superficial on the side, because I had dreams to achieve, I had goals to achieve, and yeah, it made it easier for me to use money more wisely. Because although I told you I don't really care about money, but I know that this money, I'm gonna need it. It's going to be instrumental to me reaching some of my goals, not all of them, of course, because some of the goals that I have are totally personal, they're totally intrinsic. What's the word in English? Yeah, some of my goals are totally intrinsic. You know, it's about me, self-development, the woman I want to become, the skills I want to develop within myself, with my body, or with my mindset. But I do know that for some of the goals that I have, I will need money. As much as I have this passive relationship with money, I'm gonna need it. So I have to be responsible with it, and I'm gonna manage it in a healthy way, so that, you know, I have the money without being stressed, and with having the flexibility, you know, to reach my goals. So think about your purpose, and I'm sure it's gonna help. In my case, it really helped me, and I hope it will help you. And you know, finding your purpose, it can be so difficult. This is something that can take so many years, you know. And then again, I want to stress, we are human beings, so it means that we change and we grow. So it means that the goals that you have, they might change, because you might have to adapt your goals to who you become. You might have to change your trajectory, and it's okay. You need flexibility. But when I talk about purpose, it's very important to have a clear vision. For instance, in my case, it was really helpful to have this clear, honest vision of who I am, who I want to be, and where I have to go to become the best version of myself. This has really helped me in finding my purpose and finding my goals, and just having a bit more of peace within myself, a bit more of inner peace, and having, you know, this willingness to live, to trust life, to love life, and to reach financial health. Yes. Yeah, because it's all linked. And 5 years ago, I didn't know that. I hadn't realized it. So I had to learn, you know. It took me 5 years to reach this stage when I realized it's all linked. It's all linked. It's a process that takes time. So, you know, 5 years down the line, I have a healthier relationship with spending. I'm actually trying to have a more minimalist lifestyle, but I'm getting there. And I buy more wisely, so I'm very happy by the journey. Now I'm going to tell you how all of this interprets in my daily life. Hopefully it's going to help you, and if you have other tips, please let me know in the comments. I'm happy to learn, and I'm actually eager to learn. So first, now I use spending sheets. So I know I'm going to be totally transparent with you. My spending sheets, I think they need to be a little bit more elaborate, because at the moment they are very simple. I have my earnings for the month on one side, and I have my spendings on the other side. There are a lot of websites where you can get access to templates for spending sheets. Another thing that I do is, as soon as I receive my pay, I have an automatic transfer from my current bank account to my saving account. So as soon as I have my pay, I have this certain amount of money who goes to my saving account. I don't want to give you any type of guideline. It's totally up to you, and what you can do is you have to see with your own budget. You know, there's no point in saving £200 a month if this is going to put you in difficulty yourself. You won't be able to pay your bills on time. You won't be able to have enough money for your kids, or whatever. Okay, you need to make sure that you can save regularly, you can commit to it, and this amount is not going to hurt your daily life. As I said earlier, if this is not necessary, in my case, if this is not necessary, I totally avoid big shopping centers. I don't do that, okay? So I avoid big shopping centers still to this day.
To this day! To this day!
And whenever I go shopping, I make a list. You know, this is a very easy advice, but sometimes we forget. This is so easy but so useful. I just make a list of the things that I need, and I really try not to go over this list. I allow myself sometimes one or two items out of the list, extra the list. If not, I don't buy it. If you can, try to get multiple incomes, especially if you have a lot of debts to pay back. This is really going to help you in terms of finances. And one wonderful, beautiful, useful thing that I've done is I have created a vision board, so that I have this lovely vision board where I've put my objective for the next 5 years. I put a lot of pictures, colors, drawings, so that I see it every day, and it reminds me every day that I have to stay focused. But because I'm someone, it's very hard for me to focus. So this vision board helps me a lot. And because I have my vision boards with my dreams, the things that I want to achieve, it helps me to be disciplined with money. Because as I said, I know that for some of my goals, I will need the money. And just remember every day that, girls, we have this to do, we're going there, this is what we're going to do. It's really, really helpful in terms of like keeping my money tight. Another thing is declutter your space. Declutter your space. Oh, I'm so cringy. That's what my son says. Whatever, declutter your space. Very, very important. Because firstly, I believe that when you declutter, you have peace of mind. Okay, your house looks more organized, your house is more organized, and you have more peace of mind. You don't have all this material here and there which are polluting your vision and even your mind, you know. All these clothes that you have that you don't even wear, sell them or give them to charity, give them to your friends. So as I said, when you declutter, you have this peace of mind, but also it helps you to recenter, and it also helps you to avoid buying the same stuff twice, because when you declutter, you have a clear, thorough vision of what you own in your house, and you don't have to buy the same dress twice. And you know, when you declutter, it gives you a clear vision of all the money you've wasted on clothes that you don't even wear. When I did my first decluttering session, I was so ashamed. And I think that being so ashamed was a beautiful moment, because I realized that look at all the money you spend on clothes, you don't even wear them. I was so ashamed. I was like, look at all this money that I could have saved. But you know, warning, don't beat yourself up. I never want you to beat yourself up. But in my case, I was ashamed, but it was like an enlightening moment. It didn't stay long, but I was really ashamed. I was like, look, girl, you need to do better. And every time I want to buy a new clothing item, I ask myself, do you really need it? Are you going to wear it more than once? Don't you have a similar model in your wardrobe? Are you going to buy it to let it sink at the bottom of your wardrobe? Are you going to make the most of it? And now all the clothes that I have, I wear them, you know, even if, you know, if it's too fancy or too whatever, no, I wear them. And, you know, I make use of the value of them. I mean, I paid for it, you know, I have to use them, you know, that's it. So yeah, this was my journey with limiting compulsive buying. I really do hope that you did find this video helpful. Please do seek external support if you need, whether it's in terms of mental health, emotional well-being, emotional support, financial support. I'm going to put some links in the description. If you have any tips, or if you know any agencies, organizations that can help women in the same situation, don't hesitate. Women or men, by the way, don't hesitate to put the links in the comments, please. And I just want to send you a lot of love. Please take care of yourself, take care of your mental health, please take care of your emotional well-being, please take care of one another. Love yourself, and I love you very much. Goodbye. Bye.